Hello everyone, I hope you're all doing okay, hope you're all looking after each other and surviving out there in this crazy European UK heat. Remember to hydrate, remember to drink water, very important. First and foremost, thank you for clicking on something that isn't gaming related and isn't necessarily tied into the theme of my channel. Primarily I am a horror gamer and I am a VR gamer and that is the content I will create. But as a new content creator, I think I will express or use this channel to express things and express interests and passions and problems and kind of share that stuff out. So I won't be afraid to shy away from doing something a little bit different every now and then. So this video won't necessarily be a long one. I just wanted to take a little bit of time to talk about something that's impacted me quite greatly this past week, because I know that it impacts everyone at some point or another in their lives in one way or another. And I think talking about this kind of thing really helps to heal and really helps to move forward. And I think there's a stigma around it, and a lot of people feel like they can't talk about it, or if they do talk about it, they need to react a certain way and they should feel ashamed of the way that they want to react. And that's not the case, and it's not healthy. So I just wanted to put a video out, one as a little bit of catharsis for me, a little bit of a way to get my feelings off my chest, and as a secondary goal, it might help someone else out there that might be going through the same thing, and it might help them to think, yeah, you know what, it's okay to feel this way, it's okay to live through and lean into my emotions that I'm feeling at this time. So early this week, myself and my wife had to say goodbye to one of our pets. It was incredibly painful, it was incredibly difficult. I've never had to do it myself. I've never been in that situation in a veterinary practice where I have to make the decision to allow a pet to go to sleep and not wake back up. It's something you can't really describe until you've been in that situation. It's painful, and you're overwhelmed by feelings of a little bit of guilt and a little bit of selfishness. The selfish part of me wanted to say, no, I'm going to let him wake up and I'm going to bring him home, because I want him at home. I don't want to see him go. I don't want to say goodbye. But the logical side of me knew that he was old, he wasn't well, and now was his time. And I could tell from the information given to me by the vet that that was the kindest thing to do and that was the right thing to do. As hard as that was for me to make that decision, and my wife as well, it affected us both in a really powerful way. So the little guy we had to say goodbye to was our hedgehog. He was an albino hedgehog called Morty. We had him for 4 years. And we had him since he was 8 weeks old, so he was like our little baby. We brought him into our life at quite a dark period, quite a tough period for us in our relationship. We were dealing with things that we'd never had to deal with before, and we picked him up and he was like a light bulb. A light turned on in our lives and he was just instantly an injection of happiness and an injection of joy into both of our lives. So watching him grow, and we had him for 4 years. He was a bit of an old boy. Albino hedgehogs can live to around 8 years. It's set online 7-8 years, but the average life expectancy is much lower, somewhere around the 3 to 5 year mark. And he was just about to turn 4. And just this past week and a little bit of last week, we just noticed he wasn't himself. He was sleeping a lot. He wasn't as active. He would become active when I would bathe him because he hated having a bath. So that would kind of hide the issues and hide the symptoms, because he would be running around because he didn't like being washed. But we started to see him deteriorate, and he had a bit of a cold. His breathing seemed a little bit laboured, and he just couldn't move around like he used to. So we had to make that decision to take him into the vet. And I think subconsciously we both knew, being a small animal, that there was a massive chance he wasn't going to come home. But we didn't vocalize it. We didn't talk about it. We just did what we had to do, and we kind of had to make that decision in the moment, right there, faced with it. We both went through an absolute emotional train wreck that day, and we still are. We're still in a state of healing, and I think that's something that's prompted me to sit and make this video, because talking, for me, is a great way to heal, and is a great way to get your feelings out there and celebrate life rather than linger and focus on the loss and the passing of something or someone you love. Talking about it when you're ready is just the best way to heal. I think, again, one of the biggest reasons I've sat down and made this video today is because I had so many conflicting feelings about how I was actually feeling and the emotions I had. For example, I didn't want to tell people and get upset because I didn't want people to turn around and say something like, why are you upset? It's only a hedgehog. That would have, one, driven me to a state of rage, because you never know how people connect with their pets. Pets, to me, are like family. I bathed that little guy, I fed him, he depended on me, and you know, he was part of our family and he was a big part of it. So he was never just a hedgehog to me, but I had that worry that I would talk to other people and that's how they would respond, to be like, oh, get over it, don't worry, he's just a hedgehog. And that's tough. I'm sure that's something that anyone out there that's dealt with the loss of a pet, especially like a smaller pet, because there's a stigma around them, kind of fish, rats, mice, hamsters, hedgehogs, that kind of thing. There's a stigma around, because it's not a cat or a dog, you can't become as emotionally invested with that creature and kind of have the same bond. But you completely can. They all have personality, they all show love, they all express that towards you, and of course you can become just as connected to a smaller animal that you can to a bigger animal or a conventional pet. The point I'm getting at there is just don't feel any shame in your emotions. If you're sad, be sad. If you want to cry, lean into it, cry. Get those emotions out. It's not good to bottle them up. It doesn't do you any good. It doesn't do you any justice. It's only going to do you damage in the long run. The second thing I wanted to talk about was the guilt aspect of it. And again, I'm sure there's a lot of you out there, millions, that will have gone through that moment of being there in the vet and needing to make that decision. It's not easy. It's you know, akin to taking someone off life support, effectively. You know, it's a small life, but it's a life. And ultimately, as much as it's a difficult decision to make, it's yours to make. They can't make that decision for themselves. That's the curse of being an animal that can't speak and can't vocalize. We don't know that they're in pain. We have to trust the vets. We have to trust that they know what they're doing. Of course they do. They've been through years of education to get to that point. They know when the quality of life is declining or isn't at the right point, to bring them back home and just pretend like everything's okay. So yeah, if you go through it, or if you've been through it, you'll probably come away and be racked with questions, racked with what if questions. Or what if he was going to get better? What if he wasn't in pain? What if he was fine? A vet will never put a healthy animal down. They just won't. So trust what they say. In our case, Morty had far more than what we thought was just this cold. There was something pressing down on his spine, which was impacting in the way that he could move around, hence why he just started to sleep. And they found a mass on his abdomen. So we had all the information there to make that decision for us. Didn't make it any easier, but it made the decision. It made the right decision float to the surface a little bit quicker. The third thing I want to say kind of links into what I've been talking about overall here is when you're ready, talk about it. Just speak about the loss. Now, it could be the loss of a family member, the loss of a friend, the loss of someone you barely knew, but that it affected you, or the loss of a pet, like in this instance. Shared trauma and shared sadness is healthy, it is cathartic, it helps us get those feelings out there, and it helps us realize that we don't have to go through everything alone. Even if it's just reaching out to people in your Twitter community or on YouTube like this, and just having that open, honest conversation, it helps. I promise you it helps. The day we had to say goodbye to Morty, I was a wreck, but that evening I started speaking to friends about experiences they'd had with pets and similar situations they'd been through, and it just started to elevate some of that hurt and some of that pain, to the point where I started to feel okay. I wasn't happy. My little guy wasn't around. I wasn't going to be happy, but I started to feel better. Talking is so important. We are social creatures by our nature. We need to talk. We need to get things off our chest. We shouldn't bottle things up. And you can apply that logic to so many aspects of life and so many aspects of depression and kind of negative places we get ourselves into. Reach out to somebody and talk. I promise it will make it feel better. Just being able to get some of that off and give some of it to somebody else, just piece by piece, helps. You'll feel better for it. So talk. Don't be ashamed of your feelings. If you're upset, be upset. Talk about it. And I promise you'll start to heal. Lastly, and I think one of the most important things, is don't rush a process. Don't try and force yourself to be okay straight away. You're not going to be okay straight away. You're going to be sad for a day, a week, a month, longer. It doesn't matter how long. Just embrace it. Feel that way. Lean into it and just accept all those feelings, but do so in a healthy way. Again, don't try and bottle it up. Let it out. Let it out when you need to. Speak to people. Keep people around you that, if you can, people around you that are understanding of the circumstance you're in. Talk to friends, and just offload it piece by piece, because you will start to feel better. But don't hide the feelings. Don't shy away from the feelings. Feel them. Feel every little bit of it, because it's important. You love that creature. You love that person. You love that thing that you've lost. So don't deny yourself the feelings of pain when that thing isn't there anymore. When your routine's broken as a human, it's mind-blowing. It's so difficult to not just crumble away at the thought of, oh my God, that thing that I've had for so long isn't there anymore. What do I do? A feeling of emptiness and heaviness inside. That's the loss of routine. That's the loss of something you really cared about. So don't shy away from it. Embrace it, and talk. Talking is the biggest thing. I keep coming back to it, but just talk it out and feel the things you need to feel. In summary, guys, everyone grieves, and everyone feels things. We're all people, and we'll all go through painful experiences in our lives, and the way we deal with them is important. I think we shouldn't push them down. We shouldn't feel ashamed. We shouldn't feel like we can't show that we're hurting. And we should connect with those around us to talk about it and make it feel a little bit better, a little bit lighter, and a little bit easier to carry. Because although it's hard right in that moment, when I was sitting in the vets, I thought, I'm never going to feel better again. I'm going to feel like this forever. But I knew that wasn't true deep down, and already I'm starting to feel okay. I can look at pictures and smile, and I can have memories that are good without me kind of getting to the verge of tears. It's healthy to feel that way. I know it's a little bit of an odd video for me to make and put out there, but I think it's important to have these kind of open conversations, even when it's on an online forum and you're just talking into the void and you don't know how many people are going to watch. But if one person watches this and they're feeling some guilt or they're feeling some sadness and they're feeling a certain way they don't know how to get out of, and they come away from it and go, yeah, you know what, he's right. I'll talk my feelings out, and I'll get through this with those around me, and I won't shy away from my feelings, and I won't be ashamed of my feelings. Then that's fantastic. That is exactly it's done exactly what I wanted it to do, and it will help me. It's helped me get it off my chest. Just by doing this, I'm kind of following my own rules there, and I'm talking. I'm not letting it get me down. I'm speaking through, and I'm healing. I'm healing every day. It'll take a little while, but I'm healing. And I'll get to a place one day where I'm completely fine, and I just remember him with joy and smiles and happiness. That's kind of all I wanted to say. I just did this as a way to kind of a little bit memorialize Morty, because I will miss the little guy and he meant a lot to me. So this is important for me to create this and kind of just get it out there and, yeah, memorialize him, I guess, and just have it as a way to look back and be like, yeah, that pain was real, but look where I am now. I'll watch this in a few months or a year or whatever, and I'll go, yeah, look where I am now. I just think of him with smiles and love. So yeah, it's important. And I made it for you guys. I made it for anyone out there that's feeling any pain, feeling any sadness, feeling a bit lost, feeling kind of like you won't be able to get through a certain situation. I promise you can. Get the help you need. Don't shy away from it. Talk to people. Don't suppress emotion. Let it out. Lean into it. Be sad. Be angry. Be the things you need to feel at that exact time. Don't try and feel a way you think you should feel. Feel how you want to feel, because that is the only way you'll get better, and that's the only way you'll get past it. Anyway, thanks for watching. It means the world to me if you've managed to watch this video and you've kind of just listened to my hopefully not ramblings, but just the words of a guy who's just gone through something and just wanted to help other people who might be going through something similar or something exactly the same. I know there's a lot of us out there. We all have to go through it. And just from engaging a bit more with my Twitter community and the people I'm starting to follow on Twitter, I can see that there's a lot of negativity in the world and in the people, just in everyone. People go through hard times, and I'm seeing that on Twitter. I'm seeing people that feel like they can't take themselves away from it, or feel like they want to take a break, but they don't know if they can or should. You can, and you should. You should do things for yourself. People don't do things for themselves enough. Take the time to do things for you. Look after yourself. And as I say, if you're going through something hard, feel those emotions. Feel the things you need to feel. Is the only way you'll get better. Yeah, I'll wrap it up there. Thank you very much for listening. If you've listened, or even if you haven't, just thank you for stopping by and checking it out. I will resume my standard content straight away, but I might drop into these kind of videos. I like to talk to get things off my chest, and every now and then I feel like I have a good point to make. So I might just make another video every now and then that just kind of gets that point across, or just tries to engage with people and help people that might be in a tough situation. But for now, I will resume my horror content. I finished up with Remothered now. That video is either out or coming out, depending on the way or the rotation in which I upload these videos. And I'll be moving on to the next kind of little bit of horror content very soon. Thanks for watching, guys. I really appreciate it. Just join me in wishing a fond farewell to Morty. He's very missed, but he was a very loved hedgehog, and I'm sure he's safely, softly dreaming somewhere, and he's eating all the mealworms he could ever want. Thank you, guys. Take care of yourselves. See you later. Goodbye.